right, here sits the pan. It sits in between the bug it belongs to and the other one I just did last week. All right, we're gonna take this apart, take off the front end, take up the tranny. It's just tranny in a different project, and we're gonna go ahead and flip this sucker over and get in here and do some repairs. Let's see how this is all been chiseled away when they try to get the bottom plate off. So that's gonna take just a minute to zap off once I take some measurements. All right, step one is pulling out the trans. Everything's disconnected, everything's unhooked. Got on the cart, I can try and wheel it out of here and move it out of the way. Now we'll do a little cleanup. All right, tranny's out, front end's off. Leaking a little water from the hose down yesterday. Had to take the pedal assembly off because I didn't want to smash it. And now I'm gonna attempt to flip this over onto this crate right here, and then we'll center it and get it up on jack stands. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to put the phone down for this one. All right, so here is this patch panel that we're gonna put in. So as you can see, it goes all the way to here. So first thing I'm gonna do is zip this off right here and see how much of this we can clean up. And if I have to, I'll take a section of this and clean up with that. Looks like it's gonna be fairly simple. This is the half that has to come out, so I'm gonna go ahead and buzz this off as well. And move on to the next step. All right, that's a whole lot of holes. A lot of spot welds I just had to drill out. Let's see how it looks. All right, we're gonna get a crowbar under here and see if we can pop these loose. Once I figured out the correct size step to go down to, I just enlarged each one of them, and looks like we're gonna just pull off the last one right here. I don't know if I can do it one-handed, but this pan's gonna come off in just a second. And just like magic, here we go. Now all I gotta do is drill holes all the way up to the front so I can do my plug welds. And here is a look inside the tunnel. Very nice. Okay, here is a look. I'm trying to stay out of the sun. Oh, there we go. Here's a look of what goes on underneath this tunnel. You can see how many spot welds I had to drill out. Whoever removed this used more than likely a air chisel. You can see there's some damage there which could be fixed. I trimmed off the front, trimmed off the back. But while I was doing that, I noticed I nicked the fuel line. So before I do anything, I got to change this fuel line. Okay, as far as the fitment, got it pretty good. I trimmed this off, so with this piece, we just have to take a little 1 inch, 2 inch section out of that, do a little mending there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in with like 6 real fat self-tapping screws. I'm going to drill it out so I can flip this thing over on the other side and take a look at it. I fitted the plate and then drilled a few holes and then put in a series of these big fat self-tappers. So now I know exactly where this is going to sit. I'm probably going to add just a couple more here. Then I'm going to have to drill a series of holes through each one of these sections so we could put in the plug welds all the way around. I've got a piece I took off here. I've got to make myself a little patch panel there, and we'll go ahead and weld that in. And we'll go ahead and weld this in. Looks like this is not straight, but to get this back end lined up, that's how it's got to be. So it leaves me room to weld. I was able to flip the pan over and lean it against this pole here so I could take a look from underneath. And there you can see some damage done in here when they use the air chisel. But I think I can fix that. Unfortunately, I nicked a couple spots on the brake line, so I have to go and take this out. Now I'm gonna get in there and wire wheel it all. And you can see from underneath here, I got all my holes drilled, so all I gotta do is mark those and drill those out, and that's where the plug welds will be in the back. And I just gotta do the same in the front. First I'm gonna get in here and hit it with the wire wheel. Okay, I just got back from my local parts store. It's an air-cooled specialty shop called Small Car Parts in Reseda. They had the pan that I needed, great price. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this piece off, trim this piece down, and get it put into place. Stay tuned. Okay, just a little bit of trimming, a little bit at a time. We got this thing to fit. You can see all my holes are lining up for the heater channels. This looks like it needs to come over just a little bit, so I'm going to take a little bit more off of this side and see if we can push this over just a bit. But I like what's going on over here. Looks like I'm going to be ready to pull the old pan off. So here's what it looks like underneath. All right, end of the day, we have the patch panel put in over here. Still got to get to this one over here. And I've got this secured with just a couple of self-tappers. Now I'm going to flip it over and drill out the rest of my holes for my plug welds. My buddy's going to be coming in a couple days. He wants to do all the welding on this, so I'm more than happy to let him do that. Just a few things to do until we get it painted and get it back on the car. Okay, next step is going to be replacing this metal fuel line that I nicked with this stainless steel roll I just bought on Amazon. If you want, I could put a link down there for you. It's pretty cheap, 11 bucks for all of this. So I'm trying to straighten it out, and I've got to run it through here and have it exit on one of the frame horns over there for the transmission. And that's kind of a tricky bend. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of wire, which is an old bus accelerator cable. I'm going to drill a hole through the end of the tube and loop it in there and pull it straight through and see if I can get it to that hole. But first I've got to take off this front cover and start it there. And what it's going to do, it's going to hook under here, and that's going to hold it in place. And then we'll zip tie it over there, and we should be good to go. All right, I got my hole drilled through it, and I got my accelerator cable through it, and now we're going to just hope that we can pull it through. So I'm going to give it a try. All right, this is kind of crazy. I had to do this upside down. Fished it through with like a piece of accelerator cable, bent the end, and I was able, with a little bit of work, to get this started. So I'm just going to push this out a long ways like this, and then do the front. All right, pretty simple. New fuel lines all the way around. We're ready to put the plate back on. All right, here we are, Christmas morning. Decided to come out here real quick while I had a couple spare minutes and put a quick coat of paint on this pan. We're almost done with it. We're just gonna have to do our we're almost done with it. Just got a little bit of welding to do, and then we're gonna start putting it back together. All right, back at it. We're gonna be getting ready to weld up all of our plug welds to hold the bottom plate on. As you can see, we got a million holes that we had to drill to get that plate off. What I've done is I've got a 1/4-inch end mill bit so I can get inside here and clean out each one of these holes where the plug welds are going to go in. Got a little drop more trimming here. We're going to take off about another inch right here, mate the two together, and we're going to get on the other side. And then we're going to flip it over and weld the bottom seams.
It's always hard inside that.
So?
But there was a pretty deep up section over here that I had to
Yeah, that was a chunker. All right, with the top all welded, we've come underneath here. We got a couple of seams we got to put in, and a couple of self-tapping holes. A couple welds we need to do right there, and a little grinding. We're going to be ready to put this thing back over on. All right, a little bit more grinding, a little bit more paint, and we're going to be ready to flip this thing over and reassemble it. All right, all the welding's complete, cleaned up. Touched up the black paint. We're gonna let it dry overnight. Tomorrow we're gonna flip this thing over and start reassembling it.